Hello everyone, and welcome to Fluent English Journey. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for joining, and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss any helpful English lessons. My name is Ava, and today we are going to focus on learning some very useful sentences and expressions that advanced English learners can use in their daily conversations. These are the kinds of sentences that people actually use in real life, whether you are talking with friends, coworkers, or people in professional settings. Learning these expressions will help you sound more confident, natural, and fluent when you speak English. Many learners know basic phrases, but sometimes basic phrases do not fully express the meaning or feeling you want to share. That's why today we will look at sentences that sound more thoughtful, complete, and more like what native speakers naturally say. Using these expressions will make your English sound richer and more interesting. They will also help you share your ideas more clearly and effectively. Let's start with a situation that happens to almost everyone, sharing your opinion in a group. If you want to say what you think, you might usually say something like, "I think that's good." This sentence is correct, but it is very simple. A more advanced and natural way to express the same idea is, "From my perspective, that approach has a lot of merit, especially because it considers multiple factors." This sentence shows that you have thought carefully about the topic. It gives more information and sounds professional. Another polite way to share your opinion is, "If I may add my 2 cents, I would suggest looking at this from a slightly different angle." This is a nice way to give your view without sounding too direct or pushy. It shows respect for others while still allowing you to express your own thoughts. Now let's talk about agreeing and disagreeing with someone. Many learners say, "Yes, I agree," or "No, I don't agree." These are correct, but they can sound too simple in advanced conversations. If you want to agree in a more natural way, you can say, "I completely agree with your point, and I think it also highlights an important aspect that we sometimes overlook." This shows strong agreement while adding something meaningful to the conversation. If you want to disagree politely, you can say, "I see where you're coming from, but I tend to interpret the situation slightly differently based on my experience." This sentence is gentle and respectful. It shows that you are listening carefully, but you also have your own view. Another common situation in conversations is giving advice or making suggestions. Many learners say, "You should do this," which is correct, but can sometimes sound too direct or even rude. A softer and more natural way to suggest something is, one approach you might consider is exploring this option further before making a decision. This is polite and gives the other person space to think. Another example is, "It might be worthwhile to look at it from another angle before deciding what to do next." These sentences are gentle, helpful, and very natural in both professional and casual conversations. Using these advanced expressions will help you sound more fluent and confident. They will also make your conversation smoother and more meaningful. By practicing them, you will be able to participate in discussions comfortably and express your thoughts clearly. Let's continue with more useful expressions. When you want to suggest looking at something from another angle, instead of saying, "Look at it differently," you can say, "From another perspective, it could offer some valuable insights." This sounds polite, thoughtful, and professional. You can use it in work discussions or casual conversations with friends. Next, let's talk about expressing uncertainty or hesitation. Many learners simply say, "I don't know." This is okay, but it can sound too short or incomplete. A more advanced way to say this is, "I'm not entirely certain, but based on what I've observed, it seems that." This shows that you are thinking carefully and giving a thoughtful response. Another example is, "I would need to explore this further before giving a definitive answer, but here are my initial thoughts." Using these sentences makes you sound more credible and serious about the topic. Another important skill is moving smoothly from one idea to another. Good transitions make your speech easier to follow. Instead of suddenly changing topics, you can say things like, "Building on what you just mentioned, I think it's also important to consider. This connects your idea to what someone else said in a natural way. Another example is, that's an interesting perspective, and it leads me to another point worth discussing. These transitions make your speech sound confident, clear, and professional. Let's also talk about expressing emotions naturally. Instead of saying, I am happy, which can sound simple, you can say, I was genuinely thrilled to hear that news, as it shows that our effort was worthwhile. This gives more context and makes your feelings sound real. Instead of saying, I am surprised, you can say, I was taken aback when I learned that, as it completely defied my expectations. This sentence is more vivid and helps the listener understand your reaction better. Finally, making polite requests or offers is very important. Instead of asking directly, can you help me? You can say, would you mind giving me a hand with this task if you have some time? This sounds gentle and respectful. Another example is, if it's not too much trouble, could you help me with this? These expressions are polite, friendly, and natural. When you want to make polite requests or offer help in English, there are many ways to sound professional and considerate. For example, instead of simply saying, can you help me? You can say, could you assist me with this project? This works perfectly in professional settings. Similarly, if you want to offer help, instead of saying, do you want me to help? You can say, if you like, I could assist with this, as it might save some time and effort. These forms make your English sound more natural, thoughtful, and polite. Now, let's look at how to tell stories or describe experiences in a way that is more engaging and advanced. Many learners give simple sentences one after another, like, I went to the city yesterday. This is correct, but it can be boring. Advanced speakers add details, emotions, and smooth transitions to make their stories more interesting. They describe the scene, connect events clearly, and explain their feelings. This helps the listener imagine the situation and makes your storytelling more vivid. For example, instead of saying, I went to the city yesterday, you can say, yesterday, I had the chance to explore the city, and it was fascinating to see how the old architecture blends so well with the new modern buildings. This sentence gives a clearer picture. Another example is, during my visit yesterday, I noticed several small details that really show the city's unique character and charm. Longer, descriptive sentences like these make your storytelling engaging and help the listener feel like they're there with you. Next, let's talk about expressing preferences and priorities in a more advanced way. Instead of saying, I like coffee more than tea, you can say, given a choice, I tend to prefer coffee because it helps me stay focused in the morning, whereas tea feels more relaxing later in the afternoon. This sentence gives a reason and sounds natural when discussing preferences. Similarly, instead of saying, I focus on work first, you can say, my main priority is to complete urgent tasks first, as this helps me manage my time effectively and reduces stress later. These expressions make your speech precise and smooth. We have now covered sharing opinions, agreeing and disagreeing, making suggestions, telling stories, and expressing preferences. Let's move on to expressions that make your English sound truly fluent in advanced conversations. One important skill is using idioms naturally. Idioms can make your speech colorful, interesting, and expressive, but they should never confuse the listener. For example, instead of saying, he is very active, you can say, he has boundless energy and tackles every task with remarkable enthusiasm. This is more descriptive and paints a stronger picture. When you want to say something is easy, instead of simply saying, it is easy, you can say, it's a walk in the park. Even someone unfamiliar with the process can handle it effortlessly. Idioms like these make your English sound lively and fluent, as long as you use them naturally. Another helpful skill is expressing cause and effect clearly. Instead of using basic linking words, advanced speakers show the relationship between actions smoothly and naturally. For example, because of his dedication, the project was completed ahead of schedule, or thanks to her careful planning, the event ran smoothly from start to finish. These sentences explain why something happened and make your communication more precise and meaningful. Learning these advanced phrases, structures, and idioms will help you express yourself clearly and confidently in almost any situation. Whether you are sharing your opinion, telling a story, making a suggestion, or explaining a reason, these expressions will make your English sound polished, natural, and fluent. With practice, you will speak more smoothly, respond appropriately, and communicate your ideas in a professional and friendly way. Let's continue with more advanced expressions. When describing cause and effect, simple sentences like, "It rained, so the event was canceled," are correct but basic. A more sophisticated version would be, "Due to the heavy rainfall, the organizers had no choice but to cancel the event to ensure everyone's safety." Another example is, "The persistent rain forced a change in plans, and as a result, the outdoor event was postponed indefinitely." These sentences show a clear connection between cause and effect while sounding natural and professional. Now, let's talk about making comparisons. Basic comparisons like X is better than Y are useful, but too simple for advanced communication. A more thoughtful way to compare ideas is, while both options have their advantages, I find that X aligns more closely with our objectives, especially when considering long-term benefits. Another advanced comparison is, although Y has its merits, X offers greater flexibility and efficiency in practice. These sentences show that you are evaluating both sides carefully, making you sound confident, balanced, and analytical. Next, let's look at expressions for expectations and predictions. Many learners simply say, "I think it will happen." This is correct but simple. A more advanced way to express predictions is to give reasons and context. For example, you can say, "Based on current trends and the information available, I anticipate that this outcome is highly likely." Another option is, "If things continue as they are, it seems reasonable to expect a significant change in the near future." These kinds of sentences show critical thinking and make your predictions sound more reliable and well-supported. Now, let's explore how to handle interruptions or disagreements politely. Direct expressions like "you are wrong" can sound rude or too strong, especially in professional or social settings. A more respectful way to disagree is, "I see your point, but perhaps we could examine this from another perspective to ensure we cover all possibilities." Another useful phrase is, "I understand what you are suggesting, and I'd like to offer a slightly different viewpoint that may add value to our discussion." These sentences let you disagree politely while still sharing your own ideas clearly and confidently. Next, let's talk about expressing personal experiences in a more advanced and engaging way. Instead of short, plain statements, advanced speakers add thoughtful details, emotions, and reflections. They often include what they noticed, how they felt, and what they learned. For example, instead of saying, "I traveled to Spain," you can say, "During my recent trip to Spain, I had the opportunity to immerse myself in the local culture, and it was fascinating to observe traditions that have been preserved for centuries." Another option is, "My visit to Spain provided valuable insights into the lifestyle and daily routines of the people, which I found both inspiring and enlightening." Adding these details makes your storytelling richer, more memorable, and easier for listeners to connect with. Another important skill is expressing results or consequences clearly. Instead of saying, "I worked hard, so I got good results," you can say, "Thanks to consistent effort and careful planning, I was able to achieve the desired results, which positively impacted the overall project." Another version is, "The hard work we invested yielded tangible benefits, and it became evident that dedication truly leads to success." These sentences show a clear connection between actions and outcomes, and they make your English sound professional and thoughtful. Next, let's look at making invitations and offers politely. Instead of a simple, "Do you want to come?" you can say, "I would be delighted if you could join us for this event," as your presence would make a meaningful contribution to the discussion. Another natural way is, "If your schedule allows, it would be wonderful to have you participate in this gathering, as your perspective is highly valued." These sentences make your invitation sound warm, respectful, and sincere. When offering help, instead of saying, "Do you want help?" you can say, "If you encounter any difficulties, please feel free to reach out, and I would be happy to assist in any way I can." This sounds polite, supportive, and professional. It shows that you are willing to help without being pushy. Another key skill in advanced communication is navigating social situations with tact and sensitivity. When someone shares personal news, instead of reacting with "That's good," you can respond more thoughtfully. "I am genuinely happy for you, and I can see how much effort and dedication led to this achievement." This kind of response shows that you are listening carefully and truly understand the importance of what the person is sharing. It makes your reaction feel personal and meaningful. Developing these skills, reflective storytelling, expressing results clearly, making polite invitations, offering help warmly, and responding with genuine emotion will help you speak more fluently and confidently in real-life conversations. Using these expressions shows maturity, emotional intelligence, and advanced communication ability, which help you connect better with others. Let's continue by learning how to respond to emotional situations in a thoughtful and advanced way. When someone shares difficult or challenging news, many people simply say, "I am sorry." While correct, this can feel short or impersonal. A more compassionate and supportive response is, "I am deeply empathetic toward your situation, and I truly hope things improve soon. Please let me know if there is any way I can support you." This kind of response shows emotional intelligence, maturity, and kindness. It lets the other person know that you are listening carefully and that you genuinely care about their well-being. We should also look at advanced ways to agree and reinforce ideas. Instead of saying, "That is right," you can say, "I completely agree, and I think your perspective highlights an aspect that is often overlooked." Another example is, "Absolutely, and I'd like to add that considering this angle could further strengthen the argument." These responses do more than show agreement. They build on the ideas and make the conversation richer and more engaging. Next, let's explore expressing uncertainty and probability in a professional and sophisticated way. Instead of just saying, "Maybe," you can use analytical expressions like, "There is a strong possibility that this will occur, but we should remain cautious and take all variables into account." Another option is, "It appears likely, although further evaluation is required before we can be fully confident in the outcome." These sentences make you sound thoughtful, careful, and precise, which is especially important in professional or academic discussions. Another advanced skill is responding to compliments naturally and professionally. Instead of just saying, "Thank you," which is correct but basic, you can say, "I appreciate your kind words, and I'm glad that my efforts have had a positive impact." Another option is, "It means a lot to receive such feedback, and it motivates me to continue striving for excellence." These responses show gratitude and acknowledge the work you put in, making your communication sound mature and thoughtful. We can also practice smooth transitions during discussions or presentations. Instead of abruptly saying, "Next topic," you can use a natural transition, like, "Building on the previous point, let us now examine another aspect that plays an important role in this context." Another example is, "This observation leads us naturally to the next topic, which is equally important and deserves detailed consideration." These transitions make your speech structured, professional, and easy to follow. Mastering these skills, showing empathy, reinforcing ideas, discussing probabilities, responding to compliments, and transitioning smoothly will greatly improve your communication. They help you sound confident, considerate, and articulate. With practice, your conversations will become clearer, more engaging, and closer to how fluent speakers communicate in real-life situations. Next, let's learn how to express surprise or interest in a natural and sophisticated way. Instead of saying, "That is surprising," you can say, "I was genuinely taken aback by that development," as it contrasts with what I had anticipated. Another example is, "It's fascinating to learn this, as it opens up a new perspective I hadn't considered before." These expressions show both emotion and reasoning, helping you engage with the information more deeply. Another advanced skill is using conditional sentences for hypothetical situations or thoughtful advice. Instead of simply saying, "If I were you, I would do this," you can say, "If I were in your position, I would carefully evaluate all potential outcomes before proceeding, as this could significantly influence the final result." Another example is, "Were I faced with the same scenario, I would consider alternative approaches that might offer greater efficiency and success." Conditional sentences like these help you give advice respectfully and analytically. Let's also focus on making observations and offering insights. Instead of saying, "I noticed this," you can say, "Upon closer examination, I observed that there are several underlying factors contributing to this situation, which are worth considering." Another option is, through careful observation, it becomes clear that the issue is more complex than it initially appeared and requires a nuanced approach. These sentences make you sound analytical, attentive, and articulate. Finally, let's explore polite ways to end a conversation or shift to a new topic without sounding abrupt. Instead of saying, "I have to go," you can say, "It has been wonderful discussing this with you, and I'd love to continue our conversation another time when we both have more availability." Another helpful expression is, "I appreciate your insights, and I think it would be beneficial to move on to the next topic now, as it is closely related to what we've been discussing." These transitions keep the conversation warm, respectful, and professional. Using advanced expressions, showing refined surprise, giving thoughtful conditional advice, making careful observations, and navigating topic changes gracefully can elevate your English significantly. These skills help you sound polished, professional, and emotionally intelligent. With consistent practice, these structures will naturally fit into your conversations, making your speech smoother, more confident, and more impactful. These abilities are especially valuable in settings where clarity, respect, and strong communication matter, such as workplaces, academic environments, and meaningful personal discussions. Now that we have practiced sharing opinions, agreeing and disagreeing, and telling stories, let's move on to idiomatic expressions, which help advanced learners sound more fluent in everyday conversations. Idioms are an important part of natural English. They make your language colorful, lively, and engaging. For example, instead of saying, "He is very confident," you can say, "He walks into every room like he owns the place." This idiom paints a stronger picture and communicates confidence in a natural way. Another useful idiom for describing someone who is extremely busy is, "She has a lot on her plate." This is friendlier and more conversational than simply saying, "She is very busy." Idioms also work well in professional contexts. For example, instead of saying, "Let's start the project," you can say, "Let's get the ball rolling." This expression conveys enthusiasm and readiness. Another example is, "I'm on the same page with you," instead of just saying, "I agree." This communicates understanding and agreement naturally. Along with idioms, phrasal verbs are another essential element of advanced English. Phrasal verbs combine a verb with a small word like up, off, or over, and they often sound more natural than formal expressions. For example, instead of "We will start the discussion," you can say, "Let's kick off the discussion." Instead of "We need to think about this problem," you can say, We need to go over this problem carefully before making a decision. Instead of, I will contact you tomorrow, you can say, I will follow up with you tomorrow. Phrasal verbs like these make your English sound smooth, modern, and natural rather than overly formal or textbook-like. They help bridge the gap between academic English and the type of English people actually use in everyday life. With consistent practice, idioms and phrasal verbs will start to flow naturally in your conversations. They allow you to express ideas vividly, react more naturally, and communicate confidently in both casual and professional settings. Next, let's focus on disagreeing politely and tactfully. Instead of directly saying, I don't agree with you, which can feel harsh, you can use diplomatic expressions such as, I understand your perspective, but I have a slightly different interpretation that might be worth considering. Well, I see where you are coming from. I would like to offer an alternative viewpoint that could complement your idea. These sentences allow you to express disagreement without creating conflict or sounding rude. This skill is important in professional, academic, and social conversations, and advanced English speakers do it naturally. Learning how to disagree respectfully helps you communicate clearly while maintaining positive relationships. Another important skill is giving recommendations or suggestions in a persuasive yet polite way. Instead of saying, you should try this, which can sound like a command, you can say, one strategy that could prove effective is to explore this option first, as it may provide insights that are not immediately obvious. I would recommend considering this approach because it aligns well with both short-term goals and long-term outcomes. These sentences make your suggestions sound professional, thoughtful, and polite. This is essential for advanced conversations, whether in the workplace or social discussions, where you want to be convincing without being forceful. Next, let's focus on expressing possibility and probability in a sophisticated way. Many learners simply say, it might happen, which is correct but vague and simple. A more advanced way to express possibility is, there is a significant likelihood that this outcome will occur based on current trends and available data. Another example is, it seems probable that this solution will be effective, although it is important to monitor results closely to confirm the outcome. These sentences sound analytical, careful, and professional. They show that you are considering the facts, weighing possibilities, and thinking critically. These are skills expected at a high level of English proficiency, such as C1 or C2. Using this kind of language makes your communication more precise, thoughtful, and credible, both in writing and speaking. Another advanced skill is describing people and their behavior in a detailed and engaging way. Instead of saying, he is smart, which is simple, you can say, he demonstrates exceptional insight and consistently approaches problems with careful analysis. Similarly, instead of, she is kind, you can say, she shows genuine consideration for others and consistently goes out of her way to help when needed. Using descriptive language like this makes your speech more vivid, professional, and natural. It allows listeners to understand the qualities and characteristics you are describing instead of leaving them vague. Mastering these skills, disagreeing tactfully, making persuasive suggestions, expressing probability carefully, and describing people with precision helps you speak confidently and clearly in advanced English. These techniques make conversations flow naturally, show thoughtful reasoning, and make your communication more engaging over time. Let's continue with describing people and their actions in a natural and detailed way. Instead of saying, he is smart, you can say, he consistently identifies solutions that others often overlook. This gives a clear picture of intelligence. Instead of saying, she helps everyone, you can say, she goes out of her way to support others, and her dedication does not go unnoticed. Using nuanced descriptions makes your English more engaging and professional, and helps your listeners fully understand the qualities you are highlighting. Another advanced skill is narrating experiences in a structured and compelling way. Instead of saying, I traveled to Italy and it was nice, you can expand your description. During my trip to Italy, I had the opportunity to explore both historical landmarks and contemporary cultural spaces, which provided a fascinating contrast and a deeper understanding of the country's heritage. Another option is, my experience in Italy allowed me to engage with the local culture in meaningful ways. From sampling traditional cuisine to attending community events that revealed unique social dynamics, I gained valuable insights. These sentences not only tell listeners what you did, but also show thoughtful reflection, advanced narrative skills, and make your storytelling more interesting and engaging. It is also important to express emotions and reactions naturally. Instead of saying, "I am happy about that," you can say, "I was genuinely delighted to hear that news," as it confirms that our efforts have been recognized and appreciated. If you need to express disappointment politely, instead of simply saying, "I am disappointed," you can say, "I must admit that I felt a sense of disappointment when the outcome did not align with expectations, but I also recognize the learning opportunities it presents." These expressions help you communicate feelings in a mature, articulate, and thoughtful way, which is valuable in both professional and personal conversations. Another advanced skill is asking questions professionally and naturally. Instead of simply asking, "What do you think?" you can say, "Could you share your perspective on this matter, as I value your expertise and insight?" Another option is, "I would be interested to hear your thoughts on this, particularly regarding any challenges you anticipate." These types of questions are polite, show respect for the other person's knowledge, and encourage detailed and meaningful responses. Using professional questioning techniques improves the quality of your conversations, especially in discussions, meetings, or interviews. Mastering these skills, describing people with nuance, narrating experiences thoughtfully, expressing emotions clearly, asking questions professionally, and analyzing probability carefully, allows you to speak English more confidently and naturally. These techniques make your speech polished, fluent, and sophisticated. With regular practice, your conversations will become more engaging, your storytelling more vivid, and your overall communication more effective. Advanced English is not just about grammar. It is about how you express ideas, share insights, and connect with others in ways that feel natural and confident, whether in conversations or professional interactions. Let's start by looking at making offers and suggestions politely in both social and professional settings. Instead of saying, "Do you want help?" which can sound abrupt or casual, you can use more refined expressions such as, "If it would be helpful, I would be glad to assist you with this task, as I have some experience in this area. Should you need any support, please do not hesitate to reach out, and I will do my best to provide guidance." These expressions show professionalism, politeness, and approachability. They make your English sound confident and considerate while encouraging collaboration and positive responses. Next, let's focus on expressing certainty and conviction. Instead of saying, "I am sure about this," which is simple, you can say, "I am confident in this conclusion based on the evidence and careful analysis of the situation. There is little doubt in my mind that this approach will yield the desired results, given the consistency of the data and historical trends." These sentences demonstrate authority, analytical thinking, and fluency. They help you sound knowledgeable and credible, especially in professional meetings, presentations, or academic discussions. Another essential skill is giving clear explanations or asking for clarifications politely. Instead of saying, "I do not understand," you can say, "I would appreciate it if you could clarify that point further, as I want to ensure I fully grasp the details before proceeding. Could you elaborate on that aspect, particularly how it affects the overall process? I want to make certain I have a complete understanding." These sentences maintain professionalism while showing that you are attentive, engaged, and committed to understanding the topic fully. They make your English sound mature and thoughtful. Next, let's explore expressing personal values, preferences, and priorities in a sophisticated way. Instead of saying, "I like this better," you can say, "I tend to favor this approach because it aligns with my priorities and allows me to achieve objectives more efficiently. My preference leans toward this option as it provides a balance between effectiveness and sustainability, which I consider important in the long term." Using nuanced expressions like these communicates your choices thoughtfully and helps others understand your reasoning. It also makes your English sound professional and confident rather than casual or simplistic. Another key skill is using transitional sentences to make your speech more fluent and coherent. Instead of saying "next topic," which can feel abrupt, you can say, "Building on the previous point, I would like to explore another aspect that is closely related and equally important for our discussion." This observation naturally leads us to consider a complementary perspective, which provides additional insight into the issue at hand. Smooth transitions help your ideas flow logically and ensure your speech sounds professional, organized, and easy to follow. We can also focus on expressing personal preferences politely. Instead of saying, "I prefer coffee," you could say, "Given the choice, I generally lean toward coffee because it helps me focus during busy mornings. I usually favor coffee over tea as it provides a sense of alertness that I find beneficial for my daily tasks." These sentences are polite, clear, and natural. They communicate your preferences thoughtfully, making your English sound mature and considerate. Navigating disagreement is another advanced skill, essential in professional and social settings. Instead of bluntly saying, "You are wrong," you can say, "I appreciate your perspective, and I would like to offer an alternative viewpoint that may complement your idea and provide additional insight. While I understand your argument, I would like to propose a different approach that could help address some of the challenges more effectively." These expressions allow you to disagree politely and constructively while maintaining a positive rapport and clearly sharing your viewpoint. Finally, advanced English involves expressing reflections or insights after an event or experience. Instead of saying, "It was good," which is vague, you can say, "Reflecting on the experience, I realized that it offered valuable lessons and perspectives that I had not considered before." This type of sentence communicates thoughtfulness, insight, and maturity, making your storytelling and conversations more engaging and impactful. Advanced English is not just about grammar. It is about expressing ideas clearly, connecting with others, and communicating confidently in social, academic, and professional settings. One essential skill is reflective language. Instead of saying, "It was good," you can say, "The experience provided meaningful insights and highlighted areas for growth, which I found very enlightening. Reflecting on the experience, I realized it offered valuable lessons and perspectives I had not considered before." Using reflective language shows maturity, analytical thinking, and allows you to convey not just what happened, but what you learned and how it affected you. This makes your communication deeper, more engaging, and professional. Another key skill is softening expressions when giving feedback or sharing opinions. Instead of bluntly saying, "This is wrong," you can say, "I understand your perspective, but it might be worth considering an alternative approach that could yield better results. You raise a valid point, and I wonder if we might explore another angle to complement your idea." Softening your language ensures your message is well received and avoids conflict, which is essential in sensitive discussions. Similarly, expressing agreement in a professional and enthusiastic way can strengthen your conversations. Instead of saying, "Yes, I agree," you can say, "I wholeheartedly agree, and I think your insight captures an essential aspect of the discussion that deserves more attention." Absolutely, and I would like to expand on your point by highlighting a related consideration that could further strengthen the argument. These expressions show that you are actively listening, engaged, and participating thoughtfully, making your English sound confident, interactive, and mature. Advanced English also involves expressing hesitation or uncertainty in a careful, professional way. Instead of saying, "I am not sure," you can say, "I am not entirely certain, but based on the information available, it appears that this could be a viable solution. While I need to review the details more thoroughly, my initial impression suggests that this approach may be effective under the current circumstances." These sentences convey thoughtful reasoning and analytical thinking, demonstrating professionalism and credibility. Another important skill is emphasizing important points naturally. Instead of saying, "This is very important," you can say, "It is crucial to recognize this factor, as it significantly influences the overall outcome." One key consideration that cannot be overlooked is the impact this decision will have on long-term objectives. These expressions highlight priority points clearly and persuasively without sounding repetitive or simplistic. Narrating experiences or observations with detail and clarity is another advanced skill. Instead of saying, "I saw a good movie," you can say, "I recently watched a film that provided a deeply thought-provoking perspective on human behavior, leaving a lasting impression due to its nuanced storytelling and compelling characters. The movie offered remarkable insights into societal dynamics and personal relationships, making it a memorable and intellectually engaging experience." These sentences go beyond simple statements, making your storytelling richer, more engaging, and more descriptive. Using this skill allows your listeners to connect with your ideas and experiences more fully. By practicing these strategies, reflecting thoughtfully, softening feedback, expressing agreement clearly, handling uncertainty carefully, emphasizing key points, and narrating experiences with depth, you can make your English sound natural, confident, and professional. These techniques help conversations flow smoothly, show careful thinking, and allow you to communicate with clarity, sophistication, and impact in any setting. Advanced English is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It is about expressing ideas clearly, showing critical thinking, and connecting meaningfully with others. One key skill is asking for clarification politely and professionally. Instead of asking bluntly, "What do you mean?" you can say, "Could you elaborate on that point further? I want to ensure I fully understand your perspective. Would you mind explaining this in more detail? I want to make certain that I have a complete grasp of the concept before we proceed." Using these structures shows attentiveness, professionalism, and strong conversational skills. It also maintains a respectful tone, especially in work, academic, or formal social settings, and demonstrates that you are committed to fully understanding others. Another advanced skill is expressing opinions thoughtfully and with nuance. Instead of saying, "I think this is good," you can say, "From my perspective, this approach is highly effective because it addresses both immediate concerns and long-term objectives in a balanced manner. In my view, this solution demonstrates considerable merit, particularly because it accounts for multiple variables that could influence the outcome." These sentences show that your opinions are carefully considered, professional, and credible. Transitioning smoothly between topics is another essential skill. Instead of saying, "Let's talk about something else," you can say, "Building on our previous discussion, I would like to explore another aspect that closely relates to what we have just covered." This observation naturally leads us to consider a complementary topic, which provides additional insight and context to our discussion. Smooth transitions help your conversation flow, make your speech sound polished, and guide listeners through your ideas clearly. This is particularly important in meetings, presentations, or any discussion where clarity and professionalism matter. Giving advice politely and persuasively is also vital. Instead of saying, "You should do this," you can say, "One approach you might consider is to evaluate all potential options carefully before making a decision, as this will likely lead to the most effective outcome." It may be beneficial to explore alternative strategies, as this could provide additional insights and improve the overall process. These sentences communicate guidance in a professional, considerate, and practical way without sounding bossy. Responding to compliments gracefully is another advanced skill. Instead of just saying, "Thank you," you can say, "I sincerely appreciate your kind words, and it is gratifying to know that my efforts have had a positive impact. Your feedback is very encouraging and motivates me to continue striving for excellence in everything I do." These responses show thoughtfulness, confidence, and professionalism. Finally, expressing probability and likelihood precisely helps your English sound analytical and sophisticated. Instead of saying, "It will probably happen," you can say, "Given the current circumstances and available information, it is highly likely that this outcome will occur. Based on historical patterns and observable trends, the probability of this result is significant, although continuous monitoring is recommended to confirm the outcome." Using such sentences demonstrates critical thinking, attention to detail, and professionalism. It allows you to communicate predictions or expectations clearly and thoughtfully, which is ideal for business discussions, academic presentations, or problem-solving situations. By practicing these strategies, asking for clarification politely, expressing opinions thoughtfully, transitioning smoothly, giving polite advice, responding to compliments gracefully, and stating probabilities accurately, you make your English more advanced, fluent, and effective. These skills enhance how others perceive you in professional and social contexts because your communication becomes polished, engaging, and confident. Advanced English is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It is about expressing ideas clearly, maintaining engagement, and communicating in ways that are precise, polite, and compelling. Using these strategies regularly helps your conversations flow naturally, keeps listeners interested, and allows you to share your thoughts confidently, whether in discussions, meetings, or casual interactions. Expressing likelihood and probability. Instead of saying, "This might happen," you can say, "The possibility of this scenario unfolding is quite significant. Based on the current situation and available information, the likelihood of this outcome occurring is considerable." These sentences are precise, analytical, and suitable for professional discussions, meetings, or personal conversations where careful reasoning is valued. Using this style demonstrates that you can communicate predictions or expectations logically, a key feature of advanced English. Expressing surprise or unexpected developments. Instead of simply saying, "I am surprised," you can say, "I was genuinely taken aback by this development, as it deviated significantly from what I had anticipated. This outcome was entirely unexpected and has prompted me to reconsider my assumptions and approach moving forward." These phrases show emotional intelligence, maturity, and the ability to respond thoughtfully to new situations. They make your speech feel authentic and fluent, especially when discussing complex topics or reporting results in work or academic settings. Expressing gratitude. Instead of saying, "Thank you for your help," you can say, "I truly appreciate the support you have provided. It has made a substantial difference in achieving our objectives. Your assistance has been invaluable, and I am sincerely grateful for the time and effort you dedicated to this matter." These sentences convey genuine appreciation while remaining professional and polished, suitable for emails, presentations, or personal interactions. Giving advice using conditional or hypothetical structures. Instead of saying, "If I were you, I would do this," you can say, "If I were in your position, I would carefully evaluate all possible outcomes before making a decision, as this could have significant implications." Were I faced with the same circumstances, I would consider alternative strategies that might yield better long-term results. These conditional sentences make your advice sound sophisticated, thoughtful, and respectful, rather than direct or commanding. Expressing priorities clearly. Instead of saying, "I focus on work first," you can say, "My primary focus is to complete tasks that have the greatest potential to influence the overall outcome, allowing me to achieve goals efficiently and strategically. I prioritize responsibilities that are most impactful, ensuring that my time and efforts align with long-term objectives." Being able to express priorities clearly is a key skill for advanced English learners. It shows strategic thinking and communicates intentions confidently in professional meetings, project planning, or personal goal setting. Reflecting on experiences and lessons learned. Instead of saying, "I learned something," you can say, "Upon reflection, I realized that this experience provided invaluable insights that will guide my future decisions. This situation highlighted the importance of careful planning and adaptability, offering crucial lessons for achieving successful outcomes." Using reflective language demonstrates maturity and thoughtfulness, making your communication more professional and engaging. Expressing subtle enthusiasm or interest. Instead of saying, "That is interesting," you can say, "I find this particularly fascinating because it reveals a perspective that is often overlooked. This aspect captures my attention as it provides valuable insights into the underlying dynamics at play." These expressions show engagement and curiosity, helping your speech sound natural, thoughtful, and compelling. These techniques, expressing probability, surprise, gratitude, conditional advice, priorities, reflections, and subtle enthusiasm, make your English advanced, fluent, and professional. They allow you to communicate thoughtfully, handle complex discussions effectively, and maintain a polished tone in a wide range of situations. Expressing regret and apologies politely. Instead of simply saying, "I am sorry," you can use, "I sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused and will take immediate steps to rectify the situation. Please accept my apologies, and I want to assure you that measures are being taken to prevent a similar situation in the future." Advanced expressions of regret convey professionalism, empathy, and fluency, and are suitable for both workplace and social situations where careful wording is important. Expressing plans and future intentions clearly. Instead of saying, "I will do this later," you can say, "I plan to address this task later today," ensuring that all necessary resources and considerations are accounted for. My intention is to complete this project in a timely manner while maintaining quality and accuracy. My goal is to finish this task efficiently and carefully, ensuring all details are properly managed. These sentences demonstrate organization, responsibility, and professionalism, making your communication appear thoughtful, confident, and fluent. Expressing agreement with nuance. Instead of simply saying, "I agree, try." "I agree with your assessment and believe it highlights an important point that deserves further consideration. I share this viewpoint, and I would like to add that examining this perspective adds clarity and depth to our understanding of the situation." Nuanced expressions of agreement show active listening, engagement, and professionalism. They allow you to participate in thoughtful discussions while enhancing your credibility. Offering reassurance and support. Instead of saying, "Don't worry," you can say, "I am confident that with careful planning and effort, we can overcome any challenges that arise. Please be assured that I am here to support you, and together we will address this situation effectively." These expressions communicate empathy and professionalism, helping you offer encouragement without sounding casual or informal. Expressing reflection and personal growth. Instead of saying, "I learned a lot," you can say, "Reflecting on this experience, I have gained valuable insights that will improve my approach in similar situations in the future." This experience has provided meaningful lessons and fostered personal growth that I can apply in both professional and social contexts. Using reflective language demonstrates maturity, critical thinking, and advanced language skills, making your communication more engaging and thoughtful. Persuasion and polite recommendations. Instead of directly saying, "You should do this," you can say, "I would like to suggest that we explore this approach, as it could offer effective solutions while considering all possible outcomes." One strategy worth considering is this option, as it aligns with both immediate needs and long-term goals. This approach may offer advantages that support both our short-term and long-term objectives. It could be worthwhile to consider an alternative strategy, as it might improve results and enhance efficiency. Using polite, structured, and persuasive language allows you to influence decisions thoughtfully, respectfully, and professionally without sounding forceful. Summary of advanced communication skills covered. By practicing these techniques, you can express regret and apologies gracefully, communicate plans and intentions clearly, show agreement and engagement with nuance, offer reassurance and support professionally, reflect on experiences and personal growth, make polite and persuasive suggestions. Mastering these strategies will make your English fluent, confident, and effective, particularly in professional environments, meetings, presentations, and any situation where thoughtful, sophisticated language is valued. They also help you engage listeners, convey empathy, and demonstrate critical thinking, which are hallmarks of advanced English proficiency. Presenting complex ideas and disagreements professionally. Instead of bluntly saying, "I do not agree," you can say, "I see the logic behind your argument, yet I interpret the data differently, which leads me to a contrasting conclusion that I would like to explain. While your point is valid, I believe there is another perspective that deserves attention, as it highlights factors that are not immediately obvious." Using expressions like these allows you to participate in discussions constructively, demonstrating analytical thinking without creating conflict. This makes you sound mature, confident, and professional, particularly in conversations where differing opinions arise. Summarizing ideas effectively. Instead of saying, "In summary, this is good," you can say, "To summarize the discussion, the key takeaways include the importance of careful planning, evaluating alternative approaches, and considering the long-term effects of our decisions. In conclusion, it is clear that a balanced strategy incorporating multiple perspectives is likely to achieve the best outcomes." Structured summaries make your speech organized, fluent, and professional, showing that you can reflect on discussions, highlight essential points, and provide clarity for your listeners. Handling disagreements diplomatically. Instead of saying, "You are wrong," try, "I appreciate your perspective, and I would like to offer a complementary viewpoint that may provide additional insight. While I understand your reasoning, I would like to suggest an alternative interpretation that considers other relevant factors." These approaches allow you to express disagreement respectfully and constructively, helping maintain good relationships, encourage collaboration, and demonstrate emotional intelligence and professionalism. Expressing likelihood and uncertainty thoughtfully. Instead of saying, "It might happen," you can say, "Given the current circumstances, there is a reasonable chance that this outcome will occur, although it is important to consider potential factors that could influence the result. While this seems likely, further analysis is necessary to ensure that the expectation is accurate." Using nuanced language like this demonstrates critical thinking, analytical reasoning, and professionalism, making it ideal for workplace discussions, team meetings, or any situation requiring careful judgment. Sharing opinions in group discussions. Instead of saying, "I think this is right," you can say, "From my perspective, this approach addresses the main issues effectively and may offer additional benefits when applied more broadly. In my view, The strategy suggested here has significant potential, especially when combined with complementary actions that address related challenges. These sentences allow you to communicate ideas clearly, confidently, and logically, showing that you are considering both immediate problems and wider implications, a key skill in professional and academic settings. Expressing emotions and reactions naturally. Instead of saying, "I am happy," you can say, "I am genuinely thrilled by this development," as it reflects the dedication and effort invested to achieve these results. This news brings me great satisfaction because it highlights progress that aligns with our goals and expectations. These expressions convey genuine emotion, professionalism, and thoughtfulness, making your language more engaging and authentic. Summary of skills covered. By practicing these techniques, you can present complex ideas and disagreements constructively, summarize discussions clearly and professionally, express likelihood and uncertainty thoughtfully, share opinions with confidence and nuance, communicate emotions naturally and professionally. Mastering these skills helps your English sound fluent, thoughtful, and sophisticated, allowing you to engage others meaningfully, maintain professionalism, and communicate with clarity in a wide range of contexts. Expressing surprise professionally. Instead of saying, "I am surprised," you can say, "I was completely taken aback by this outcome, as it was very different from what I had anticipated." Expressions like these add depth and authenticity to your conversations, making your language sound thoughtful, professional, and reflective. Describing events and experiences in detail. Instead of saying, "I went to the city," you can say, "I recently visited the city and had the opportunity to explore its historical landmarks as well as modern attractions, which gave me a deeper understanding of its culture and way of life. During my visit, I engaged with local communities, experienced traditional cuisine, and observed daily routines that revealed unique social dynamics." Using detailed language makes storytelling engaging, helps listeners visualize your experiences, and shows that you can communicate events in a structured and meaningful way. This skill is useful for professional interactions, academic presentations, and social discussions. Combining nuanced language for advanced communication. By combining these techniques, expressing likelihood thoughtfully, sharing opinions carefully, showing clear emotional reactions, providing vivid descriptions, you can communicate at a high level in English, demonstrating analytical thinking, empathy, and attention to detail. These skills allow you to respond to situations in a mature and professional manner while keeping your speech natural and fluent. Enhancing experience descriptions. Instead of simply saying, "I went to the city," you can expand with, "I visited the city and had the chance to see the mix of historical buildings and modern developments, which created an interesting contrast and left a lasting impression. During my visit, I attended cultural events that offered insights into local traditions and daily life, making the experience both educational and enjoyable." Detailed expressions like these help your speech sound professional, vivid, and engaging, allowing your listeners to fully grasp your perspective. Showing agreement with depth. Instead of saying, "I agree," try, "I completely agree with your analysis, and I believe it highlights an important point that is often overlooked but has significant effects. I share your perspective, and I would like to add that considering this additional factor strengthens the argument and gives a more complete understanding." These expressions show that you are actively engaged, thoughtful, and precise, which is particularly valuable in professional discussions, academic debates, and collaborative projects. Politeness in offering help or support. Instead of saying, "Do you want me to help?" you can say, "If you would find it helpful, I would be happy to assist you with this task, as I have some experience and can provide guidance. Should you need any support, please do not hesitate to ask, and I will gladly offer assistance to ensure the task is completed successfully." These sentences convey professionalism, empathy, and attentiveness, while also making your speech sound polished and considerate. Providing clear explanations and asking for clarification. Instead of saying, "I do not understand," you can say, "Could you please clarify that point in more detail? I want to make sure I fully understand all aspects before moving forward. I would appreciate a more detailed explanation, particularly about the implications of this issue, to ensure that I completely grasp the situation." Using these expressions demonstrates attentiveness, professionalism, and careful thinking, showing that you value clarity and precision in communication. Summary. By combining detailed descriptions of experiences, thoughtful expressions of agreement, polite offers of help, clear and respectful requests for clarification, your English becomes natural, advanced, and professional. These techniques allow you to engage effectively in conversations, demonstrate critical thinking, and communicate with confidence, respect, and sophistication in personal, social, and professional contexts. Expressing plans and future actions. Instead of saying, "I will do this later," you can say, "I intend to complete this task later today," ensuring that all necessary resources and details are considered to achieve the best outcome. My plan is to address this matter within the designated time frame while maintaining high standards of quality and thoroughness. Using structured and precise language like this demonstrates confidence, professionalism, and thoughtfulness, showing that you are organized and capable of handling tasks efficiently. These expressions are valuable in both work and social settings. Reflecting on experiences and personal growth. Instead of simply saying, "I learned something," try, "Reflecting on this experience, I have gained valuable insights that will help me approach similar situations more effectively in the future. This experience has provided important lessons that contribute to my personal growth and will guide my decisions and actions going forward." Expressing reflection in this way shows maturity, analytical thinking, and a high level of English proficiency. It also signals to others that you are thoughtful and capable of learning from experiences, which is highly valued in professional and social contexts. Polished social expressions and networking. Instead of saying, "Nice to meet you," you can say, "It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I look forward to exchanging ideas and learning from your experience. I am delighted to meet you and hope we can collaborate and share insights that are mutually beneficial." These expressions are polite, professional, and naturally fluent, helping you make a strong first impression and foster meaningful connections in both social and professional environments. Expressing priorities and focus. Instead of saying, "I focus on work first," you can say, "My primary focus is to address high-priority tasks first, which allows me to manage time effectively and ensures important objectives are completed efficiently. I prioritize tasks that have the greatest impact on overall outcomes, helping maintain productivity and achieve results strategically." These expressions show that you are organized, goal-oriented, and able to communicate your approach clearly, making your speech sound polished and professional in meetings, discussions, and collaborative projects. Bringing it all together. By combining clear planning and expression of future intentions, thoughtful reflection on experiences and personal growth, polished social and networking expressions, clear communication of priorities and focus, your English becomes more sophisticated, fluent, and professional. These skills help you handle professional, academic, and social conversations confidently, making your interactions effective, engaging, and memorable. Practicing structured and nuanced language for plans, reflection, social engagement, and priorities allows you to sound natural, articulate, and mature, strengthening your credibility, connections, and communication impact.